Today we are going to discuss the indirect object pronouns. So, los pronombres de complemento indirecto. These pronouns refer to whom or for whom something is done. And so somebody else receives the action. And so, for example, here, la madre le sirve la sopa a su esposo. And so here we're using one of these indirect object pronouns, le. So we're saying that the mother serves soup to her husband. Okay, so that's our indirect object pronoun in Spanish, le. Or el padre les habla a sus hijos. So the father talks to his children. And so les. And in this case, it's the kids. And so it's plural. And so les. So these are the ones, the pronouns that we're going to be discussing today. And so they represent at least two different relationships. For example, Paco gave the book to me. In this case, Paco me dio el libro a mí. So because it was to me, me. Or Paco bought the book for me. So Paco me compró el libro a mí. And so these are the two relationships. It can be to or for. So me dio or me compró. To and for represented by the single preposition a in Spanish. Okay, so a in this case, and then a. So the pronouns. This indirect object is almost always a person. Almost always a person. Okay, so occasionally a thing that is indirectly affected by the action of the verb. So Paco gave the book to me, right? A person. And so, and we already know in a previous chapter we learned about the direct object pronoun when we ask what, right? For example, to find out what someone did. And in order to do that, we would have done this. What did Paco give? So the book, right? That's how we find out our direct object pronoun. But now, in this new concept of the indirect object pronoun, we need to ask the question, to whom did Paco give the book? And then the answer is to me. Then we found our indirect object. So Paco me dio el libro. El libro is the direct object, and then to whom? To me. Me dio el libro. So it's important to distinguish direct objects from indirect objects because they're completely different things. So let's see these pronouns. Me, te, they're very similar to the direct except for this. It changes in the third person here. This is where it changes. And again here. And so used for people, and this can be used for people and sometimes things. Sometimes, because normally it's for people. That's how we use these pronouns. And so me, te, le, it's going to be the third person, either for like a person normally, or probably a pet that we can consider because it's not a person, right? So a pet could be this. And nos, os, and then this is people again. Les, and then a pet. If it's, I don't know, the cats. Okay? And so the forms of the indirect are identical except for this part. Third person, the third person, let's make like an arrow here. Third person is singular and plural. So common verbs that use this direct indirect object, for example, contar, contestar, dar, decir, explicar, hablar, mandar, mostrar, pedir, preguntar, prestar, regalar, servir, traer. These are common verbs that use these indirect objects, and the meanings are right next to the verbs. And so it requires the co-occurrence of the indirect object pronoun le, and in this case, a Alfredo, and the indirect object itself. And so, for example, let's see the examples here. And so, if the person hasn't been mentioned or established in the conversation, we will have to mention it. And so, le voy a mandar el libro. For example, here I'm using different verbs that go with this indirect object pronouns. Le voy a mandar el libro a Alfredo. So I'm saying in the first one, I'll send the book to Alfredo, right? Send. And so in this case, we have to use this le to make it clear that he's the one receiving this book. O le voy a prestar el libro a Alfredo. In this case, he's the person that I will lend the book to. I'll lend the book to Alfredo. Or le voy a traer el libro a Alfredo. So in this case, he's the person that I'm going to bring the book to. I'll bring the book to Alfredo. So le voy a traer el libro a Alfredo. And so normally we need to use this at the beginning to establish the person who we're talking about. Okay. And so they come in front of the conjugated verb. They have to be in front of the conjugated verb always, just like the direct object. When it's attached to an infinitive, can go right after the infinitive. Okay. So normally it would be in front. Le voy a mandar la novela a Alfredo. So I'm going to send the novel to Alfredo. But here I'm saying the same thing. I'm going to send him, or I'm going to send in general the novel to Alfredo. And so we can do that. So either this one or that the other one are equivalent. These two. We're saying the same thing. I'm going to send the novel to Alfredo. Or sometimes we can attach it to a gerund. Okay, so the present progressive. I'm sending the novel to Alfredo. Estoy mandándole. And we can also do that. We can also attach the pronoun to a gerund. Estoy mandándole la novela a Alfredo. As mentioned, occasionally it's a thing, right? Sometimes. For example, a thing like an object, in this case, an engine. Voy a ponerle un motor nuevo al coche. Okay, so they're going to put a new engine in the car. And so, and in this case, we're using it, the coche, it's an it, and so that's the third person is right here. We show that with the third person as well, which is le for singular. So think of the installation of the new engine as an action that is being carried out on the car. That's the process. That's how we can use it that way. Okay, let's practice now. And so in this case, Leticia, so this is a special dinner. Leticia had dinner with her boyfriend. Okay, so it was Lucas. That's the name of the boyfriend. Yeah, the dinner was last night. So now she's writing an email to her friend Carolina to tell her about the details. Okay, so now Leticia is gonna use the indirect object pronoun to tell us what happened at this dinner. And so, hola Carolina. Ayer Lucas, so here she's saying, yesterday Lucas invited me, right? Me invitó. invited me to a restaurant, a really pretty restaurant for my birthday. So, me invitó a un restaurante muy bonito por mi cumpleaños. And so, upon arriving, al llegar, upon arriving, and then camarero is a waitress. And so, un camarero, and then it would be nos, right? A waiter, in this case a waiter, explained us or explained the menu to us. In this case, we received this action of the carried by the waiter for us, explaining the menu. Entonces, upon arriving, a waiter explained to us the menu. So, nos explicó el menú. That's our second pronoun, indirect object pronoun. Next, cuando terminamos nuestras pastas con verduras, so when we finished our pasta with vegetables, that's what they ate for dinner. So, another waiter le sirvió un postre de chocolate a Lucas. And so now another waiter came and then brought a chocolate dessert for Lucas. So Lucas, the action was carried for Lucas. And so he was receiving this action of receiving the dessert. And so le sirvió. And it has to be le because it refers to Lucas. Lucas is the one receiving the dessert. Okay, so a waiter served a chocolate dessert to Lucas, pero yo no quise comer más, but I didn't want to eat anything else. Okay, next one. Los dos camareros fueron muy amables. So both waiters were very gentle, very, very polite, very nice. Así que Lucas, and so because of that, because they were so polite and nice, Lucas gave them, and so les dio. Lucas gave them a good tip. Gran propina. A very good tip. Propina is tip. And so, así que Lucas les dio una gran propina. Because, you know, they are the ones receiving this money from Lucas. Luego, Lucas, so after that, or right away or soon, luego, Lucas me regaló un bolígrafo con mi nombre. So Lucas gave me or gave to me a pen engraved with my name. Okay, because we know that it was Leticia's birthday, and so she got a present from Lucas. So me regaló, and then she got her present. And so fue una noche ideal. Okay, so that's how this indirect object pronoun works, and I'll talk to you next time. Ciao, chicos.